Survivor 46 is here, and so is On Fire, the only official Survivor podcast, and we have a twist this season. The winner of Survivor 45, Dee Valladares, will be joining us every week.
We're going behind the scenes of the biggest moments, the how and the why things happen, and the strategy and analysis you can only get from someone like me, a Survivor winner.
Listen to On Fire, the official Survivor podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
This episode is brought to you by Hyperice, the leader in advanced warm-up and recovery technology. They have tons of innovative products, like Venom-heated wearables to help soothe sore back muscles, Normatec compression boots to speed up recovery and increase circulation, and Hypervolt massage guns to improve mobility. Loved by athletes like Naomi Osaka and Erling Haaland. Try them yourself. Get 10% off your order with the code MOVE at Hyperice.com.
It's only a kick. A jump, a block. It's only a serve. It's only a tackle, a run. It's only for the fans. After all, it's only pressure. You got this. Adidas.
I'm really been impressed in my first 100 days with the trajectory we are on. The athlete village concept, we can provide a voice that is relevant for athletes from all sorts of different sports and different backgrounds. There's no question the number one issue has been around the cost of living. The last thing we want is the first conversation we're having is where the sport has got a problem. I have been in the system, even though it's not been my full-time job. You know, I've done it as a volunteer throughout. Paris 24, it's only across the channel, isn't it? I mean, we're all really getting excited about the Olympics and Paralympics next year.
This is a special edition of the podcast with the BEAA, the British Elite Athletes Association. I'm John.
And I'm Michael, and coming up we're joined by the new chair to find out more about the rebrand, the new focus and the future.
Hi, my name's Dominic Marnie. I'm the chair of the British Elite Athletes Association.
Dominic, 100 days into the new role as chair, what have you and the organisation been working on?
It's been fantastic to join the BEAA at a time where our remit has been expanding. So we've always been had a unique role around safeguarding and representation of athletes. But what's been so exciting is to hear and to work with the team on developing the broader plans around building a kind of community for athletes as well. So what we're calling the Olympic Village concept, the idea that there's a place for athletes to join groups, interest groups that they're interested in. Might be specifically around a sport, or it might be about jobs in the future. It might be on any subject that they choose, and create a kind of much more of a sort of Olympic Village concept, kind of the sort of thing that those of us who were athletes really experienced when we went to an Olympic Games or a Commonwealth Games. You know, you go into the Olympic Village, that's where the community lives. The dining room where you go and share food together, your different accommodation blocks, the different areas of the village where you feel kind of sort of safe and it's a really unique environment for athletes to be in.
Because ultimately, to be part of the British Elite Athletes Association, you have to be an elite athlete, you have to be on a world-class programme, and you probably also would have been to the Olympics or Paralympics and know what the Athletes Village is.
Yeah, well, I mean, first and foremost, we provide a safe, independent, objective, but an expert kind of resource for athletes for any issue that they might face. It might be some kind of dispute that they've got into with their governing body, or with a coach, or with a fellow athlete, or it might be something over selection policy. Anything that is troubling an athlete, they need to know that they've got somewhere to go and get the right advice from. So we provide that kind of forum for athletes, and that's a unique role that we play. obviously we have athletes at different ends of their career. So, representing over 1,100 athletes in 40 different sports. They might be, at the start of their career, joining a world-class program, or indeed been to several Olympic Games and everywhere in between. So, not everyone has been in the Olympic Village, but by being a member of the BEAA, we want to sort of share that experience and help to cross-fertilise different athletes from different sports with different levels of experience. This is not an organisation that existed when I was an athlete, so I'm really thrilled. This organisation has been going now for 20-odd years and it's now an important and established part of the high-performance sport environment.
It's all about anniversaries. The 20th anniversary, as you say, January 2024. As we speak, you're celebrating 100 days in the role. What was the priority? What was the thing that was top of your inbox when you first got the role?
For me, top of my inbox was making sure that the athlete's voice is represented. When I finished as an athlete back in the early 1990s, I was invited to be an athlete representative myself in the early days, and I found that to be a very developmental experience. I didn't really understand how sport was organised or governed, so it was really quite a surprise to me, the sort of decisions that people have to make in sport. And I was surprised that the athlete's voice wasn't more present and needed to be campaigned for. So I was most attracted back to say, well, okay, where is the athlete voice in these decisions that are made? Things have moved on a lot, obviously, from the amateur era when I was competing. Now with the world-class programs since 1997. But that was what attracted me back. And the other thing was that there was this organisation which seeks to bring together athletes from across 40 different sports. That was a very attractive, both Olympic and Paralympic, of course. Hence the athlete village concept and the idea that we can provide a voice that is relevant for athletes from all sorts of different sports and different backgrounds.
So the name has changed slightly in the last 6 months or so. And I know you've been working with CEO Anna Watkins as well about more engagement with athletes. And you kind of touched on it there, because it's amazing how many people don't know that the BEAA, it exists.
Yes, exactly. And I actually, all that work had been done, really good work had been done. We've got some very talented members of our board with a branding and commercial background who did some very good work on what athletes most value and are looking for from their representative body. So coming back to that and picking up with Anna Watkins, and how lucky we are to have an Olympic gold medalist as our CEO with her many other talents as well. So it's been brilliant, a chance to work with Anna and the talented board members and the full-time staff members as well. Fantastic. I think the opportunities are there for us to have our voice, project ourselves to both athletes and the wider sporting community, using the best of modern techniques as well. So using social media, we have a number of brand ambassadors for BEAA athlete ambassadors. We've got 3 athletes on our board: Asha Phillip, Holly Pern-Webb, Anna, former athlete herself. So making sure that we can project our voice out to our members and to the high performance community and make sure that people know who we are.
And I know one of those things that you're doing is the alumni platform. And you mentioned you being a former Olympic athlete yourself. You want to build and use other people's experience.
Definitely. And, I've been allowed to come onto the alumni platform, and each week I get a little digest, which is great. It gets pinged to me about what's happening on the platform, the different groups that I can join. And I'm really hoping that those old athletes like me can hopefully play a role for those athletes, particularly as they start to think about life after sport. They can tap into the experiences of alumni such as myself and other generations, because that can be quite a daunting moment in your life. Certainly was for me. The idea of, I'm no longer going to be an athlete. This fantastic experience I had as an athlete. I mean, highs and lows, I should say, and it's not always fantastic. It's we lose more often than we win. But what am I going to do life after sport? And I'm hoping that the alumni network and this concept of the athletes village is going to give us a great community feel, and the athletes, they'll get towards the end of their career and they'll know that they're supported by other athletes, and there's a place for them to go to get that support.
And you talk about getting that support. Practically, where is that made available to the athletes? We're in a digital age now, a social media age. Your 100 days, we're celebrating it on a podcast, for example. So what is there now for the athletes to do other than listen, of course, to this podcast?
Yeah, no, it's great to have a podcast like this, and of course, social media channels, on Instagram, on Twitter, but also through the alumni app. So you can download the alumni app as an athlete. You can apply to the BEAA. Be registered onto the app. Once you're registered onto the app, you've been validated, if you like, as an athlete, a former athlete on a world-class program, and that you're in a community where it's safe for you to join groups and to message each other privately and in public forums as well, but using these fantastic modern communication tools that we've got these days to make sure that the athletes can speak to each other.
And you've added 3 athletes to the organisation as well. Recent hires include ex-skeleton racer Millie Kellyman as your athlete community manager, and ex-swimmer Michael Gunning as the ED&I ambassador, and Robin Love as your LGBTQ plus ambassador. What's been the reaction? And I know you've had, and you do survey the athletes annually. What's been their reaction to some of the innovations that you have made?
In terms of listening to our athlete members, the survey's absolutely critical, as well as sort of pulse surveys that we can put out as well. I mean, it's really brilliant to have Millie, Michael, Robin, who are close to the athletes, and to have their voice within our organisation is very, very helpful in the relationships they've got with current athletes. From the survey, there's no question the number one issue that has come back in the most recent 2 surveys has been around the cost of living that we're all experiencing, of course, but athletes who are very grateful for the support they get via grants from UK Sport as part of the world-class programs, and yet those grants clearly they've not been inflation-proofed. They're not being linked to increases in cost. So that they're definitely experiencing that squeeze. So certainly their appreciation for what we do around our casework is loud and clear. 90% plus of athletes who have engaged with the BEAA, reached out needing some help, have said it's been fantastic, and they've recommended doing so to other athletes. When athletes know who we are, have a reason to kind of know who we are, particularly need our support, it's really reassuring. It's great for me coming in my first 100 days to see the appreciation that there is for the work that our case officers do and everyone working for the BEAA.
We mentioned the fact that some athletes don't know that you exist, but also you mentioned that you work with 40 different sports. I'm assuming there are other sports that you'd like to work with. Absolutely.
I mean, it is a challenge for us with our resources to make sure we get around. But I'm reassured. I mean, Anna sits on the Performance Director Forum, so she attends the Performance Director Forum. She's regularly meeting with the Athletes Advisory Group for UK Sport. So we're well represented through those forums, and yet there are some sports who we need to do more to engage with, and that's on us, and it's on sports as well, because the last thing we want is the first conversation we're having is where the sport has got a problem over safeguarding or over some kind of issue because athletes are unhappy with a selection policy or something like that. So we'd much rather kind of make sure that we're proactively working with the sports, not merely reacting to problems when they arise.
And worth reiterating, Dominic, as well, that this is for Olympic and Paralympic world-class athletes.
Yes, absolutely. It's important that we're engaging with both the athlete commissions for the British Olympic Association and I know that the BPA, British Paralympic Association, is looking at their own kind of how they communicate with Paralympic athletes as well. But of course, not everybody who's on a world-class program is yet an Olympian or a Paralympian. So we need to make sure that we're engaging at every point in an athlete's career.
And you mentioned, of course, that you were a sports person, a former modern pentathlete, double Olympian, Seoul 88, Barcelona 92, won world and Olympic bronze in 87 and 88 respectively. But your career, obviously, since then, you've moved into administration, if you like. What has brought you to this role then, and why are you the man to chair this organisation for this initial 4-year period and take it forward?
My athletic career is a long time ago now, so it's 80s and 90s. The end of the amateur...
We remember it.
Yeah, the end of the amateur era. And I was really privileged. I only had a brief break after I finished competing. I then, as I said earlier, had a chance to represent athletes on my international federation for modern pentathlon and on my national governing body. But then I was asked to come back and manage a modern pentathlon team at 5 Olympic Games. So I didn't think I would do that, but working with the performance director, the coaches, the athletes, small program, but really feel like I had the opportunity to understand the development of the world-class program. So I've really felt like I have been in the system, even though it's not been my full-time job. I've done it as a volunteer throughout and been happy to do that. So when the opportunity came to go, well, actually, here's an organisation that is working across the system, having had that kind of depth in one sport, now to try and apply that in my experience and bring my experience of the professional services world, because that's been my background working in consulting in my career, bring that expertise to the BEAA as we ask ourselves the question, what services could we provide our members that our members would value? I'm hoping that I can bring that combination of having been an athlete, having been an administrator, managed teams in the world-class system, and had a professional career in professional services. Hopefully I can bring the best of that to the role as chair of BEAA.
How much are you looking forward to now and the future, the 20th anniversary early in 2024, which, of course, as you'll know, is an Olympic and Paralympic year. It's come around again.
It's amazing. It's so exciting. Paris 24. It's only across the channel, isn't it? I mean, we're all really getting excited about the Olympics and Paralympics next year, and we realise it becomes very tight around about qualification for Olympic teams, about selection for Olympic teams. So we're not naive to what's going to be coming down the line in the next 6 to 9 months as the world-class programs go through the process of picking the best possible Olympic and Paralympic team. And it's a sort of moment of truth for everybody in the system. And we want to play our positive role in helping the system to make the best possible choices with the athletes at the heart of it.
Dominic Marnie, the new chair of the British Elite Athletes Association, thank you. And if you'd like more info on the BEAA, or you are a world-class programme athlete with automatic membership, do check out the website. That is britisheliteathletes.org.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Okay, round 2. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.